Fox jumped over aisles and occasionally flew down and navigated through the maze-like path in an attempt at confusing his victim. Fox was someone that was used to being chased after, though the people chasing him usually found out why he was codenamed Fox. "Come on, my pretty toy. I know that Wolf is going to try and take you away, so I'm going to take you someplace where we won't be interrupted." Fox giggled at the thought of what was going to happen. After he was confident that he had confused the prey, Fox began to hide his presence. He was looking forward to tasting this girl, considering how long it has been since his last encounter. Wolf was always trying to act noble and preventing him from taking in the sweet things in life. As Fox began his hunt for the girl, all he could think about was tasting her naked body after he cut off all of her clothing. Picturing her writhing under him as she looked at him terrified made Fox enjoy trying to find her. She would be getting closer soon, and when she is looking for him, he'll pounce on her. Though she may be able to use her magic, everyone knew that mages were not skilled in close-quarter combat. With his senses heightened, Fox listened for her movements. The sound of a book falling and hitting the floor could be heard. Grinning, he slowly made his way towards the sound. Greenhorns would always make a mistake at a crucial time, so waiting was his best strategy, which paid off. "Come to me, my little bunny," Fox whispered to himself. Seeing the book on the ground, Fox carefully looked around. Since she had made a mistake, it was likely that she was nervous and would soon give her position away. A whip made out of flames came out of nowhere and bound his body. "What is this?" he yelled out in alarm. "Look what I found," the girl giggled. The big bad man fell for such a simple trap. With how confident you were acting, I figured that you would be at least a little suspicious. "You fucking bitch, let me go!" Fox screamed at the girl. "When I get out, I'm going to cut up that body of yours and enjoy watching you scream." There was a moment of silence before the girl started laughing hard. "Are you joking? What kind of fantasy world are you living in?" Seeing her reaction, Fox was caught off guard. Her mannerism was completely different from what he expected. "That look of confusion is nice," she grinned. "Too bad that I am not interested in playing around with you." Lifting up her left hand, she made a cutting motion. "What?" Fox asked, not knowing what was happening. The world tilting confused him. He could see the feet of someone laying on the ground. Ellie opened up her eyes, trying to understand what was happening. The last thing she remembered was the two figures in front of her, and then the world going black along with the sweet smell. "Looks like she is awake," a woman's voice that sounded familiar spoke. "Just a second, Ellie," a girl's voice spoke as the black bag was removed. In front of her was Celestra and one of Ye's servants. "What happened?" Ellie asked, feeling a little lightheaded. "You were attacked by assassins, sent by some secret organization," the beast person Ellie remembered that her name was Erasia spoke. Helping her up, Celestra placed Ellie's arm over her shoulder. "Let us get you back to your room." Han sat on his throne inside the stronghold in the city. Though he was still a student, there were some matters he thought would be better to handle in person. In front of him was a monitor where he enjoyed watching certain elements inside of the city. "What would you like for us to do with those vermin?" Brittany asked him. She was still standing in for Helania while Helania was fulfilling a task for him. Though Han enjoyed having Brittany near him, a part of him missed the resolute nature of Helania. He tapped on the armrest as he thought about what needed to be done. Have the students use them as an exercise on surveillance. Remind them that they are forbidden with being detected, so only have top students be assigned. You mentioned someone looking promising? Han asked. Yes, there's a young girl that arrived recently who has been performing rather well. Her instructors expect that this girl will be a glowing model for future students. She is very talented in infiltration and reconnaissance, Brittany replied. See if her instructors believe that she is ready, and have her, along with her team, follow our guests, Han decided. The doors to the throne room opened, and Eurasia, Celestra, and Ellie walked in. Both Eurasia and Celestra looked pleased. Han assumed things went well considering that Ellie was with them. Master, as you requested, I, along with Celestra, made sure to keep an eye on the fourth princess, and were able to fend off assassins sent by the organization that is actively interfering with the fourth princess's mother's research. Eurasia and Celestra kneeled in front of him. Ellie was wide-eyed as she looked around at everything. Compared to what this world considered as luxury, he could understand what was going through her mind. Welcome to Felicitas, Han said to Ellie. What do you think of my humble city? Han grinned at how she hadn't taken everything in yet, looking like a tourist who was seeing New York City or LA for the first time. What is all of this? Where did it come from? I do not remember a city that existed inside the desert, Ellie stammered. We enjoy our privacy and only recently started to advertise our presence, Han tried to sound mysterious. He liked the idea of those mythical cities and thought it would be fun to create such a narrative. He thought of Felicitas as the Atlantis of the desert. Everything here is so different, she continued. Instead of standing around in this stuffy room, we should get something to eat. I'm sure that you will enjoy it, and I can find out what happened. Han started to walk out of the throne room. Since the first time he had constructed this construct, Han had added several more floors. On one of the floors, there was a fabulous restaurant that served great food and was available to anyone that wanted to dine there. The trick of it was that the restaurant existed in its own dimension, so even though it was part and not part of the stronghold. The interior is made to look as if the restaurant is floating through the sky. As you dine, you can watch as the restaurant circles the city. When the sun sets, the restaurant begins its ascension into space where you can look at the world. It was kind of an illusion, but also not an illusion. Thinking about it made Han's head hurt. Entering the restaurant, several servers greeted him. He acknowledged them and had one of them guide him to his area, which was a raised area off to the side. It gave a sense of privacy, while not keeping him separate from the other guests. Sitting at the head of the table, Han swiveled his seat so that he could watch the city below. Looking at the city made him think about how society was always wasting its potential, trying to compete with one another. This city proved that real innovation could be accomplished when people decided to work towards the betterment of everyone. No longer were people chained to some artificial construct and instead of freely pursue their dreams and aspirations. How is something like this able to exist? Are we still inside the building? Ellie asked. Turning his chair around to face her, Han grinned. Yes and no. The images you see is an accurate reflection of what is happening in the world, and this area exists in its own dimension, but also inside the stronghold. Are you amazed? I do not even know what to think, she said. Celestia giggled at Ellie's reaction. Master is someone that stands above all, Brittany stated. She simply stared at him as if there was nothing else that was important. He saw Eurasia motion for servers to approach them. 5 servers appeared, with only one of them bringing a menu. Considering this was the first time that Ellie dined at the establishment, It would be unusual for her to know what types of food were served. The other servers stood next to each person and waited for the person's order. Bring me some steak strips with mashed potatoes and gravy. Also include some vegetables and biscuits. Have a cup of gravy just for the biscuits, Han ordered. The server inclined her head and walked away as the other servers followed after receiving the orders. Looking at Ellie, Han smiled. It appears that we did not need to worry about the question of why the organization was not interfering with our adventure. Ellie sighed, thinking about what almost happened. How long did you know that they were likely to attack me? I personally did not know that they were likely to attack you. One of my servants had informed me that there was going to be an attempt on your life, so I had Eurasia and Celestra follow you. He shrugged his shoulders, making it seem like it was not a big issue. Do you know who is in this organization? It dawned on Ellie by his reaction to her question. Of course Master already knows who is in this organization, Eurasia laughed, thinking how ridiculous the idea was. Then are you going to do anything about them? Ellie demanded. Hearing the tone that Ellie was using towards Han, both Brittany and Eurasia narrowed their eyes at Ellie. They didn't appreciate her taking advantage of his kindness, expecting him to bend to her whims. What if I did know? Han spoke with a slight edge in his voice. Realizing that she may have gone too far, Ellie quickly stammered, I am sorry. I did not mean to order you. Haha, there is no reason for you to apologize. It is understandable that you would have an interest in seeing such an organization destroyed. The mood around the table improved in an instant. I have my reasons for why I do not interfere at certain times in this world's affair, so you will just have to respect my wishes. Understanding the position Ellie was in, she heavily sighed in frustration. In consideration to our friendship, I will at least let you know that this organization believes that the overflow is something necessary to keep this world at a particular societal state. Han threw her a bone of information. Ellie slammed her fist on the table. The deaths of my people are a necessity? What kind of monsters are they to believe in such nonsense? Like any person that looks too deeply into a particular set of beliefs, it is understandable to see people reach a false conclusion, Han said.